Imagine if businesses had a tool as powerful at making connections as something, say, like a dating app, but instead of finding a romantic partner, they're searching for suppliers who truly match their sustainability goals. Just like swiping left on a mismatched date, companies today need to sift through endless options to find products that don't just claim to be green, but actually are. With over 75% of a company's emissions lurking in its supply chain and greenwashing on the rise, the need has never been higher for true transparency. Hello, I'm your host, Mike Lake, and in this episode of Preview of Tomorrow, I'm speaking with Kirsten, Lunoe, and Charlie Bennel, creators of Green the Chain, a company whose platform is helping businesses uncover real, impactful choices to build a greener future for all.
Innovation, resiliency, discovery. Join Mike Lake, President and CEO of Leading Cities, as we explore the technologies shaping the possibilities of our future with a preview of tomorrow.
Hello and welcome, Kirsten and Charlie. Thank you both so much for joining us, and of course, welcome to all of our listeners. Today, I am thrilled to introduce you to Kirsten, Lunoe, and Charlie Bennel of Green the Chain. Their organization is tackling one of the biggest sustainability challenges facing businesses today: the complexity of sourcing sustainable products and reducing supply chain emissions. Kirsten and Charlie, before we jump into things completely, share a little bit about how you both got motivated and into addressing the environmental impact of supply chains worldwide.
Hi, Mike. Thanks. I'll take this one. So it all started when I was working for a paint company, and we decided to redevelop the products and make them more sustainable. So that included everything across the ingredients, including packaging. And I got online and tried to find the new products, and I found it really challenging to source sustainably. And I got really frustrated, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if there was like a central place where you could just search for things like a marketplace and compare products side by side in terms of their sustainability. And then I decided to look further into it, and I decided to do a master's of sustainability and started talking to other people. And then Charlie and I really resonated, and the idea grew from there.
Amazing. So I mean, this issue of sustainable sourcing, it impacts everybody, right? From an individual to a business to cities. But I've seen that over 93% of business leaders have prioritized sustainable sourcing, but so many still struggle to find that reliable, eco-friendly supplier or suppliers that they're looking for. From your perspective, how big of a problem or a challenge is that really?
Yeah, well, this is a problem that 81% of buyers say that they have. That finding sustainable products is a barrier to meeting their environmental goals, and they're overwhelmed, they're confused, and it just leads to inaction.
It's so true, and I think we all know that there's plenty of inaction on some of these issues, and this is something that, at least from business leaders that I've spoken with, if they had that easy access to know who is that more sustainable supplier, they're more than happy to choose that option. It's that lack of knowledge to connect them with the right supplier. Now, one of the things that's been talked about a lot, and maybe you can, for the benefit of those who are not or less familiar with it, but Scope 3 emissions. Do you want to talk a little bit about Scope 3 emissions?
Yeah, so the Scope 3 emissions are there to do with the products and services that a business buys. And it's the thing that's really outside of their control. So Scope 1 and Scope 2 is more about the business's own use of power, electricity, air conditioning, coolants, things like that. But when you come to Scope 3, it's actually the emissions and impact of all your suppliers and their suppliers. So it becomes really hard to A, know what's going on in that supply chain, and then B, have any control over that supply chain. So having the ability to see your suppliers' scope 3 emissions and impact, and what they're doing in terms of their environmental impact and their impact on animals and biodiversity and social impact, enables you to make better decisions.
And the craziest thing as well,
sorry, no, go on.
The craziest thing as well is that, 75% is actually in those parts of the business that are out of your control, the scope 3, whereas on average, and 25% is only within your direct control. So it's really a massive problem.
And that is part of what I was just going to say. It is a massive problem, and there are some companies who are starting to figure this out, and those that manage those scope 3 emissions are attracting, those environmentally conscious customers. They're gaining a stronger market position, especially now as I think more and more of us are being educated here and understand the impact of our own purchasing. And of course, they're preparing for stricter future regulations. It seems to me that this is a win-win-win situation. But I am curious. I want to move now into a little bit about Green the Chain, or let's talk about Green the Chain, because really what you're doing is solving this big challenge that business leaders have. So tell us a little bit paint the picture of what is Green the Chain.
So we believe sustainable choices should just be easy and accessible for everyone. It shouldn't be something that's really confusing and difficult. And buyers are really trying now to achieve sustainability goals and reduce their environmental impact. And so the way we help them do that is we help them find a holistic kind of sustainability profile with information about the environment, the people, and the animals that's to do with the products that they're sourcing, so they can get all the information they need to just make better decisions. So we're helping them remove those barriers of confusion that lead to that inaction. And for the sellers,
and it's all on. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, and it's all on one page, which makes it really easy, and it's comparable. So you can look at two products side by side and compare each of their sustainability metrics, and focus on the ones that you're really interested in.
Yeah, and then we also believe in amplifying the positive actions of sellers who are making a genuine effort to be more sustainable and helping them win more market share. And the way we do that is by helping them embed a sustainability profile into their product pages, so they can educate their buyers in a way that they can actually understand. And we also connect them to a marketplace where they can find more values-aligned buyers. So it helps them feel recognized for the efforts that they're taking, and be rewarded with more sales as well.
And so to that point, you're building kind of both sides of the marketplace. So your customers are on both sides. I'm curious, with the buyer side, who are the buyers? Who are you targeting?
So the buyers can be any sort of business or organization, basically. So whether you're a small business or a global megalith or whatever they're called, or a medium-sized business, so they can all use the market, or a city. They can all use the marketplace to try and find new products, search the products, not versus a supplier, and also compare them side by side. They can use it to pre-vet their potential, like if they're doing a tender, they can use it to pre-vet and just invite the suppliers that already satisfy the sustainability initiatives that they want to achieve. So they make sure that they're comparing apples with apples in a tender situation as well.
And I'm imagining on the other side, on the supplier side, there's the obvious reward, Charlie, that you just referenced, connecting with buyers, but I would imagine there's other benefits to them to join something like Green the Chain. What would you say those additional opportunities are?
Well, we also help them communicate with a reduced risk of greenwashing, because also something that sellers are fearful of is, being called out for that. How do I talk about this? So that's something that we're also helping them do.
And what does it take for them to join Green the Chain?
So we have engineered our widget with as easy as possible. So there's some multiple choice questions, some short answers. They don't have to fill out long essays. We just tried to make it as simple as possible for them to provide the information. And, they can set this up within as little time as a week. They can upload the evidence behind their questions to help them avoid that greenwashing. And yeah.
And focuses on the actions and not on the goals.
Yes.
Which is a big one.
So once they've set up their profile, so to speak, they're ready to go. They're in the marketplace.
Yes, they can just download
they get
and
access
copy and
to a
paste.
link.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
And
you go, Charlie.
What about the buyer side? Is it equally easy for buyers to join?
Yep. So buyers can just register on our website. It's free. And once they register, then they will be able to see all of the sustainability information about the products in the marketplace and reach out, and they can compare products side by side and also contact the suppliers.
And I'm envisioning this is once you're in, it's as simple to find the products you're looking for as, let's say, an Amazon type marketplace. Is that a fair comparison? Well, maybe not fair in some ways, but
yeah. So basically, our idea is to help people find products not just on sustainability, so they can see all of the other aspects that they need to see. They can filter by the price or the color or whatever they need, but they can also filter by their sustainability goals. So, if that's recycled content, they can filter and see 65% or more recycled content. Things like that allow people to integrate sustainability decisions into the sourcing process.
I love that, because that's not assuming they already know what they're looking for, but helping them find what they might not know exists.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so key. I mean, there's, especially as we see more and more technologies, innovative materials, I should say, coming out, and new processes, etc. It's almost impossible to keep up with all of that if you don't have Green the Chain kind of doing the legwork for you.
Yeah, we're really excited about being able to amplify those businesses and the new technologies and developments that are taking place, because there's a lot of movement in this space, and there's a lot of new products that just people don't even know about. So how are they going to find it if they don't have Green the Chain?
This might not be a fair question, but give me a sense of how many products or whatever you see being listed. It doesn't have to be right now, but even in the future on the platform or in the marketplace.
I mean, big future, we see every product coming with Green the Chain, but we are focused on the construction space at the moment, because we can see big opportunity there. I think construction is responsible for, I think it's 30% of global emissions. Yep. But it can apply to any industry, any product. Yeah.
Agricultural products, services.
Which is, I mean, just scratching the surface, as you said. In the future, everything can be here, and I love the idea that so it creates another opportunity for suppliers to compete with each other, right? And instead of a race to the bottom, it's a race to the most environmentally friendly, the most green, the most, however you want to describe it, sustainable products that they can be developing. To me, it's a game changer, and to put it in such an easy platform right at the fingertips of any buyer, I think is just the remarkable piece to this. Do you see it at any point being available to an individual consumer?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, any product. Yeah.
I'm
any
excited
service.
for the day.
Yes,
um,
we're working on it.
well, I
The
want to,
other thing,
yeah,
oh, sorry. I was just going to say the other thing that we're really trying to do is not punish businesses for not being sustainable.
Yeah.
It's more about encouraging those first
right.
steps to be sustainable. And when a supplier gets on and sets up a product and sets up their business, they actually get this really clear gap analysis, and they can see all the places where they're doing well, but they can also see the places where there's room for improvement. So we're hoping to encourage people to move that dial and become more sustainable.
Yeah, and the widget it's focused around sustainability progress. Sustainability isn't a destination.
Yeah.
There's not 100% perfect sustainable product. It's about, what are the actions that we're taking, the positive ways that we're, trying to improve our sustainability. So that's what we're focused on.
I
It's a
use the
progress
analogy for a number of different things, but it's like the North Star. People have been using it to guide them for centuries. Nobody's arrived at the North Star yet.
100%. That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice way to
So
put it.
in that same line of thinking, and given the fact that our time is already up, which is hard to believe, as your own North Star and looking into the future, what do you see, 50, 100 years from now, assuming, as you've outlined, that, every buyer and every supplier is on Green the Chain and selling more sustainable products? What do you see as the real impact here?
Well, our impact is really focused on those three pillars, people, planet, and animals. So where, if we could look into the future and see buyers are no longer sourcing from products that are using modern slavery and forced labor, they can see transparently which products are not, so they're choosing those. They're not purchasing products anymore that are causing deforestation or encroachment in the environment or in the water. They're not, all of those things, and just taking those small positive actions to just create that ripple effect of change. Yeah, that's what I think we can both agree that we see. Yeah.
Well, Kirsten, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, I see a world where we're using less toxins, less water for production. We're digging less resources and materials out of the ground, and we're just recycling more of what we've already taken, and being much more efficient as a race, so that we can have all of these humans on the planet and live in harmony with nature. More harmony, for sure.
Well said, and I have to say I'm grateful that the two of you have found each other and are building this platform for the rest of us to be more conscious about our own purchases and to help drive that change with the power of our pockets or pocketbooks maybe. But listen, I want to thank you both for joining us for this episode of Preview of Tomorrow. And I'm really just grateful and thankful for the work that you're doing every day to make this a more sustainable marketplace, a more sustainable planet for all of us.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Preview of Tomorrow. Listeners like you are essential to advancing our efforts to drive resiliency and sustainability for all. I ask that you give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or whichever streaming platform you prefer. Your feedback helps us to grow and share these brief previews of what life in the future can be. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and encourage others to also join us each week in previewing the possibilities of tomorrow.
Preview of Tomorrow is brought to you by Leading Cities, a global nonprofit driving resilience and sustainability for all by unleashing the potential of the world's cities. Join them at leadingcities.org.